With the curtain speech, I just want to thank Hattie Lou for allowing us this night to share with you. We've been locked up, locked in for the last 2 years and not able to enjoy theater. So thanks for coming out tonight for Night Songs. Night Songs was originally written as a full-length production, stage production. Tonight you'll see it in a different form. We decided to produce it as a dramatic reading because COVID is still out there. We are just proud to be here together and hope that this is the first of many outings until it is safe to do everything full throttle. The play Night Songs was written by Deborah Glass Frazier. Ms. Glass Frazier so masterfully and expertly researched, compiled, and then spun the works of Etheridge Bushey Knight into a chronicle of his simplicities, his complexities, and then wrote that chronicle of his life in his own words. So what you're going to view tonight are Etheridge's words. He once said that he died when his shrapnel-laden body was hit and that drugs resurrected him. When he went to prison, he was lost. But when he found poetry, he was indeed found. So tonight, break out of your prisons, whatever they may be. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Night.
Etheridge Knight, number 32650.
32650.
326.
50.
Box 41, Michigan City, Indiana, 46360. Thursday night, November 7th. Hey, lady. Yeah, well, I made it. No hip hip hoorays. I do feel good about it. Not grateful, but good. At least I'll soon be with my woman. Each day we move closer, lady. It'll be your time. Your time. And the changes, ooh-wee. I want to scream, explode. Yeah, today's been a bitch. I woke up with a headache. I waited. I had been listed as the 9th man to appear before the parole board. So I expected to be called about 8:30, but it was 10 before I was summoned to the guards hall.
The guards hall is a busy place. Something like a bus station. Guys coming and going in to see their counselors. Guys going home.
You going today? Today your day? I hope you make it, man. Some guys just hanging out.
I sat along with the other men going up for parole on a bench. The first man to be called was an older brother. Must have been in his 70s. He's been here 26 years. Has a head full of snow white hair. Looks kind of like a chief.
When he turned and disappeared at the top of the T,
Everybody's nerves really came down.
one man clipped his fingers, one got up from the bench and began to pace the floor. Another was clenching the top of his lighter, up and down.
Up and down.
Up and down, but no one spoke.
A few men had to go to the bathroom, and me, I had to go twice. Finally, I was called to the hot seat. From the hot seat, I could see the outside world through 2 locked doors.
And this poem I give to you. This poem is a song that I sing to you from the bottom of the sea in my belly.
this poem. This poem is a song about feeling, about the bone of feeling, about the stone of feeling, and the feather of feeling.
This poem is a death chant, a gravestone, moving, moving, moving through the blood and mud and crap of Vietnam. Moving, moving, moving.
Through the blood and mud and dope of America. This poem
This poem is a silver feather, and the sun gold glinting, green hills breathing, love rhythms, love rhythms, love rhythms. And this poem
This poem is for me, and the days lay in the back of my mind when the sea rose up to swallow me, and the streets I walked were lonely streets, were stone cold streets.
This poem is for me and the nights when I feel wrapped in my feelings in the sheet of ice and stared at the stars through the iron bars and cried in the middle of my eyes.
This poem
This poem is for me and my woman and the yesterdays when she opened to me like a flower and I fell on her like a stone. I fell on her like a stone. This poem.
This poem I give to you. This poem is a song that I sing to you from the bottom of the sea in my belly.
Eastern Guard Tower glints in sunset. Convicts rest like lizards on rocks. Inside these walls, 2,000 black, white, brown men. Average age, 36.
Small town burglars.
Stick-up artists.
And forgers.
Lifers make up the largest group, 450.
Inside these walls, 6 a.m., a whistle blows.
A bell rings. Oatmeal, prunes, bread, coffee.
A bell rings. The warden said to me the other day, innocently I think, say, Etheridge, why come the black boys don't run off like the white boys do? I lowered my jaw and stretched my head and said innocently I think, well, sir, I guess it's because we ain't got nowhere to run to. A bell rings and we go back to work.
11:30, a bell rings.
12, a bell rings.
4:30, a whistle blows.
An inmate spends 14 to 16 hours a day in his cell.
Soon it becomes, in truth,
His home. Taped to the wall of my cell are 47 pictures, 47 black faces. My father, mother, grandmothers.
one dead, grandfathers, both dead, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, cousins.
First and second. They stare across the space at me sprawling on my bunk. I know their dark eyes, and they know mine.
I know their style. They know mine. I am all of them. They are all of me.
They are farmers. I am a thief. I am me. They are thee.
I have one time been in love with my mother, one grandmother, 2 sisters, 2 aunts. One went to the asylum, and 5 cousins.
I am now in love with the 7-year-old niece. She sends me letters written in large block print. Her picture is the only one that smiles back at me.
I have the same name as one grandfather, 3 cousins, 3 nephews, 1 uncle. The uncle disappeared when he was 15. Just took off and caught a freight, they say.
He discussed each year when the family has a reunion. He causes uneasiness in the clan. He is an empty space.
My father's mother, who is 93, keeps the family Bible with everybody's birthdays and death dates in it. Always mentions him. There is no place in her Bible for whereabouts unknown.
Each year, the graves of my grandfathers call me. The brown hills and red gullies of Mississippi send out their electric messages, galvanizing my genes.
Last year, like a salmon quitting a cold ocean, I leaped and bucked my birth stream. I hitchhiked my way from LA with 16 caps in my pocket and a monkey on my back. I almost kicked it with the kinfolk.
I walked barefoot in my grandmother's backyard. I smelled the old land and the wood.
I sipped corn whiskey from fruit jars with the men. I flirted with the women. I had a ball till the caps ran out and my habit came down.
That night I looked at my grandmother and split. My guts were screaming for jump, but I was almost contented. I had almost caught up with me.
The next day in Memphis, I cracked a crocus crib for a fix. This year, there's a gray stone wall damming my stream, and when the fallen leaves stir my jeans, I pace my cell or flop on my bunk and stir.
And
47 black faces across the space.
I am all of them. They are all of me. I am me, they are thee, and I have no children to float in the spaces between.
What now? What now, dumb nigga? What now? Now that you dance behind the pale white doors of death.
What now is to be. To be what you want to be. To be what you're supposed to be of what white America wants you to be. A lane crawling from nickel bag to nickel bag.
Be black, brother. Man, be black and blooming in the night. Be black like your fat brother.
Sweating and straining to hold you as he struggled against the straps.
Be black. Be black like your woman. Her painted face floating above you. Her hand sliding under the sheet to take yours.
They said you will die in this night room under the sheets of tubes. Red. Death screams. How do they imagine death?
Because your body stops its earth's movement does not mean it dies under the sheets.
Black. Mass needs not die, man, under the sheet.
It regroups to move into another space, another time. Hands sliding under the sheet to take yours.
It is morning, man. Still you don't move under the sheets.
And your hours, they slide into days. And I watch you as I begin to speak of hyenas.
Her hands sliding under the sheets to take yours.
Only by using narcotics was I able to fashion an order in my person and a harmony, however uneasy, with the existing society and its beast. I was none involved. I was standing pat in prison.
But one day, as I sat watching television in the prison gymnasium, Malcolm spoke to me. From out the screen, his eyes and words shot through my brain and plunged into my soul, creating new symbols, myths, stirring up old ones generations forgotten.
He has the sign of the high time shining in his eyes, the high sign.
His throat moans like Moses and cracked stone like Moses on Mount Sinai. His lips lie full and flowered like the breast of Mother Africa. His forehead is red and sacrosanct and smooth in time and love for you.
But still I rejected Malcolm and his message. I have for too long sought this snug state of non-involvement to be shaken out of it so easily. More and more of his words filtered down to me via the black grapevine. I existed, black, good, and loved.
I opened my eyes and saw Leroy Jones, John Coltrane, and Gwendolyn Brooks asking truth.
And if sun comes, how shall we greet him? I saw that to love black is good.
I saw a space being created where I could stand straight, and I saw truth. The sun came, Miss Brooks. After the night years, he came spitting fire from his lips, and we flipped.
We goofed the whole thing. It looks like our ears were not equipped for the fierce hammering. Now the sun is gone and bled red.
Weeping behind the hills, again the night year's shadow form. but beneath the placid faces a storm rages. The rays of reds have pierced the deep, have struck the core. We cannot sleep. The shadows sing, Malcolm, Malcolm, Malcolm.
The darkness ain't light before the sun came, Miss Brooks. And we goofed the whole thing, I think. Though ain't no vision came in my city.
See, the black artist must create a new history, new symbols, myths, sing new songs. I started to define myself as a poet when in prison. But even before I knew I was a poet, baby, I was poet.
Because I was a toast teller. I grew up as a toast teller. Yeah, brother, while America sings about the unsinkable Marley Brown, who was hustling the Titanic when history went down.
I sing to thee of Shine, the stroker who was hip enough to flee the ship and let the white folks drown with the screams of their lips.
Jumped his black ass into the dark sea, Shine did. Broke free of the strange steel. Yeah, I sing of Shine and how the millionaire banker stood on the deck and pulled from his pocket $1 million check, saying, Shine, Shine, save for me. I give you more money than a black boy needs.
How Shine looked at that money and looked back at the sea and said, jump in and just swim like me. And Shine swam on. Shine swam on.
How the banker's daughter ran naked on the deck with her pink tits trembling and her pants around her neck, screaming, Shine, save poor me, and I'll give you all the loving a black boy needs. Now loving is good, and that's no jive, but you gotta swim to stay alive. And swam on, and Shine swam on.
How Shine swam past a preacher afloat on the board, crying, save me, nigga Shine, in the name of the Lord. How the preacher grabbed Shine's arm and broke his throat. How Shine pulled the shank and cut the preacher's throat. And Shine swam on, and Shine swam on.
And when the news hit shore that the Titanic had sunk, Shine was up in Harlem damn near drunk.
I will right well. Adjure, verb, to renounce. Abdicate, verb, to denounce or to deny. I will work hard. My work will be good.
Acclivity, a upward slope. I will be a famous writer. My interest is in cant, not cunt. My voice will be heard, and I will help my people.
1968 Broadside Press, Poems from Prison by Etheridge Knight. Dedication for J.W. Icewater Pruitt, Charles Butch Baker, and Willie Gross. For Dickie Gilbert and Don Golden Boy Booker. For Paul Funky Drum Jones, and for the other black cats everywhere. Prefaced by Gwendolyn Brooks. Vita, Vita. This poetry is a major renouncement. It is certainly male, with formidable austerities, dry grins, and a dignity that is scrupulous, even lenient. But there are centers of controlled softness as well. The warmth of his poetry is abruptly robust. The music that seems effortless is exquisitely carved. Since Etheridge is not your stifled artiste, there is air in these poems. There is air in these poems. And there is blackness, inclusive, possessive, and giving. Freed and terrible and beautiful.
Sail song. Night music slanted. Light strikes the cave of sleep. I alone tread the red circle and twist the space with speech.
Come now, Etheridge, don't be a savior. Take your words and scrape the sky. Shake rain on the desert. Sprinkle salt on the tail of a girl.
Can there anything good come out of prison? You see, when you're involved in the creative process, you're extremely aware, just like your antennas out. Being aware in prison You're aware of a very painful environment. You're aware of the suffering, the pain. Most of the time you're trying not to be aware, to tend not to be creative. Suffering and pain are just an element of creativity.
Vital, vital. This poetry is a major announcement.
For freckle-faced Gerald. Now you take old Rufus, he beat drums, was free and funky under his arms, screwed white girls and jumped off a bridge, and thought nothing of the sacrilege. He copped out, and he was over 21.
Take Gerald. 16 years hadn't even done a good job on his voice. He didn't know how to talk tough or how to hide the glow of life before he was thrown in as pygmies for the buzzards to eat.
Gerald, who had no memory or hope of copper hot lips or firm thrusting thighs to reinforce his flow, he let tall walls and buzzards change the course of his river from south to north.
No safety in numbers, like back on the block. 2's are plenty. 3, definitely not. 4, y'all Muslims. 5, you're planning a race riot.
Plus, Gerald could never quite win with his precise speech and innocent grin. The trusted fist of young black cats. Gerald's son kissed 10,000 times on the nose and cheeks, didn't stand a chance. Didn't even know that the loss of his balls had been plotted years in advance by wiser and bigger buzzards than those who hover above his track at nightlight upon his back. Dry grins, a dignity that is scrupulous, but there are centers of control softness.
September the 2nd, 1963. 2 poetry rejects. September the 3rd, 1963. I got a letter from Dale tonight. She's thought if Floydale's riding her back. She's probably nervous due to her pregnancy. Wrote Floydale a red-hot letter. Love throughout the universe. I know exactly what you mean, man. When you, like TT, my sister, who never expressed love in words, like white folks are always doing. She would sit in the corner and cry every time I got a word.
Exchanging greed and the ungrateful signs, thrust the thick notes between green apple breasts. Then the shadow of the devil descends. The violent space cries and angel eyes, large and dark, retreating innocent and in ice. Run, sister, run! The boogeyman comes.
The violent space cries silently, like you cried wild years ago in another space, speckled by the sun and the leaves of a green plum tree, and you were stung
By a red wasp, and we flew home. Run, sister, run, the boogeyman comes. Well, hell, sis, wasps still sting. You are all of 17 and as alone now in your pain as you were with your sting on your brow. Well, little sis, here we are, you and me and this poem. And what should I do? Should I squat in the dust and make strange markings on the ground? Should I chant a spell to drive the demons away? Run, sister, run, the boogeyman comes.
In the beginning, you were the Virgin Mary, and you're the Virgin Mary now. But somewhere between Nazareth and Bethlehem, you lost your name in the nameless void. Observe the demon puke and watch the white eyes pop. Run, sister, run, the boogeyman comes.
And what do I do? What do I do? And what do? I boil my tears in a twisted spoon and dance like an angel on the point of a needle. I sit counting syllables like Midas gold. I'm not bold.
I cannot yet hold the demons and lift the weight from your black belly. So I grab at the air and I sing my song. But the air can't stand my singing long.
Etheridge is not one of your stifled artistes. There is air in these poems.
The skin of my poems may be green and sometimes wrinkled or worn. The snake shape of my song may cause the heel of Adam and Eve to bleed. Spit my skin with the rock of love, old as the rock of Moses. My poems love you.
Essential ingredients of the new black aesthetic, an art that celebrates life, not death, in the midst of suffering, freed and terrible and beautiful.
The morning of August the 5th, like all other mornings in prison, began dismally.
The day the young blacks came, thick fall.
The news rumbled like an earthquake, shaking us of our lethargy.
Through the back gate in the south wall, 55 young ones came, chained, manacled like a couple of slaves.
They hobbled along, their leg iron, hair long, flaring from out of their heads. Tikis and charms hung around their necks. They raised their manacled hands, giving the sign, Black Power! Black Power!
Fist pumping.
They shook the joint with their blackness and boldness. The guards broke up the crowd.
As we moved away, one old black man said, "Them young fools are in there for a whole lot of trouble. Somebody ought to talk to them niggas so they don't make it hard for all of us."
What are you talking about? It can't get no worse. I'm glad that they're here, because them young niggas just ain't gonna take the stuff that we took off of the white man.
After the noon meal, I made the rounds of the cell houses gathering books. At supper time, I sent them up to the young ones in the Rock. The Rock, a maximum isolation facility, the prison within a prison.
The next week, the trustee brought me a letter. The dudes want you to smuggle it out. Civil Rights Division, Washington, D.C. Dear sir, I and 54 other inmates were transferred to the state prison as a result of a peaceful sit-down demonstration to demand the closing of the hole.
Release 4 Negro inmates who have been in the hole since May the 25th. In the censorship of literature. I assure you, if this letter is disregarded, it may be detrimental to 55 persons involved. I have omitted the name and number of the prisoners who signed the letter. Respectfully, yours. I smuggled the letter out. Afterwards, I flew a kite to the men to inform them the same day the trustee brought me a letter, thus beginning an exchange of kites with the young blacks that lasted 12 weeks.
August 18th, 1968. Dear Brother Knight, I'm wondering whether you have taken care of that business yet. It is important that something be done about this mad dog concentration camp. Look, Knight, to be honest, I'm pissed at you and the rest of these so-called black brothers who know that I haven't done a damn thing to get locked up. But yet and still, they are so afraid of this honky. Until they just stand back and see a brother getting framed up. Slim.
9/12/68. Hey Slim, peace. Are you still pissed? Ain't nothing going on here, man. The same old BS. We're all uptight. Hold on, Baraka. Next year will be the year of liberation. Peace. Night.
9/12/68. Say, Doc, I'm beginning to wonder just how far submerged are you in this whitewash? This is the second time you have mentioned something about them low-life, hunky politicians doing us a favor. Over 300 years ago, the Indian recognized him, labeled him fork-tongued. It is beginning to be apparent that you are very gullible, unaware, potential Uncle Tom. Bucky has my book, Black Power. Just send up here for it because you definitely need to read. Water.
9/12/68. Water. Peace. Look, I'm going to ignore all the wild rhetoric for the moment, but I have to say this. Who are you to rant and rave and call anybody an Uncle Tom when you're supposed to have so much love? You blow your chance to go home where you could really do something, all because you can't keep your mouth shut down there. Even an Uncle Tom couldn't do that. A man is not what he says, but what he does. Now that I got that off my chest, peace, night.
9/27/68. Brother Knight, look Knight, I tried to be nice to you. I have even made special efforts. But you see Knight, a man's action speaks for him. You've been here 5 years and couldn't get a black history class started. So don't tell me nothing about waiting. When you die, they should put on your tombstone, he waited.
You told me our thing at Pendleton was immature and misdirected. What I want you to do, Mr. Knight, is show us how to do it right, man. I must fight the enemy wherever I confront him, because I am a man, and I wish you would become one too. Dig? I am sending you some poems. Type them up and see if you can send them out. We'll close now. I hope you get yourself together. Bucky.
10/6/68. Brother Bucky, peace. First, the poems. As you can see, I have put your name to them. They are good poems, very good. I'm hip to that anonymous crap. You're the kind of dude my daddy used to talk about. One who is no good. Take responsibility for your words. Peace, Knight.
10/6/68. Brother Knight, it is very difficult to describe our black folk life using white words and poems. The little poems that I write are to shed a little light on the situation. One of those Negro guards down at Pendleton called me a fascist and reactionist, and I told him he was right. I would react every time. I received the last set of books you sent me, but the niggers are Toms. They were too busy writing about the white man. In the instances where I have referred to you as being a little Tomish, it's because I'm at the point where I only account achievements. You can't tell me that you couldn't in 5 years establish some kind of workshop for the guys here. It doesn't make sense. If you know these guys are liking and readiness, why didn't you prepare them? You spoke once of fear. Why did you not try to remove some of the fear among the brothers? Bucky.
A slim young fascist, fresh from the hole, slid into me, murdered me with his eyes, and said, "Man, why ain't you doing something?" All night. I sat up all night, wrote 5,000 words explaining how I was doing something. But the slim cat, beautiful fascist, didn't bite it, and nor did I complete it.
Brother Bucky, one who throws a rock and hides his hand, no good. Now look, brother, this hang up you got about being a man or a father, about us being men, I'll go through it just one more time. I agree that manhood comes out of direct confrontation with the enemy. What you obviously don't know is that I went through my baptism of fire years ago. We didn't have the protection of being young. They sent troublemakers to the nut house and burnt their heads to a crisp. Peace, Brother Knight.
Hard Rock was known not to take shit from nobody. He had the scars to prove it. Split purple lips, lumped ears, whoops of blood, his yellow eyes, and one long scar that cut across his temple and plowed through a thick canopy of kinky hair.
The word was that Hard Rock wasn't a mean nigger anymore. The doctors had bored a hole in his head and cut out part of his brain, shot electricity through the rest. When they brought Hard Rock back, handcuffed and chained, he was turned loose like a freshly gilded stallion to try his new status.
And we all waited and watched, like Indians at the coral, to see if the word was true. As we waited, we wrapped ourselves in the cloak of his exploits. Man, the last time he took 8 screws to put in the hole.
Yeah, remember when he smacked the captain with his dinner tray? He set the record for time in the hole, 67 straight days.
Oh, Hard Rock, man, that's one crazy nigga. And then the jewel of the myth, the Hard Rock had once bit of stew and poisoned on the thumb and poisoned them with syphilitic spit.
The testing came to see if Hard Rock was really tame. A hillbilly called him a black son of a bitch and didn't lose his teeth.
A screw who knew Hard Rock from before shook him down and barked in his face and Hard Rock being nothing.
Just grinned and looked silly. His eyes empty like knotholes in a fence.
And even after we discovered that Hard Rock took exactly 3 minutes to tell you his first name, we told ourselves,
He had just wised up.
Was being cool.
But we couldn't fool ourselves for long. And we turned away, our eyes to the ground, crushed.
He had been our destroyer, the doer of things we dreamed of doing, but could not bring ourselves to do. The fears of years, like a biting whip, had cut the grooves deeply across our backs.
all art, really valid art, appeals to freedom. All art, valid art appeals to freedom, has the sense of freedom.
Any artiste living in an oppressive society such as this has as his major theme freedom.
Freedom. Freedom.
Or he's bullshitting.
Where come we from? And so forth. The point of the Western pen is red with the blood of us. The pages of Harlem, Timbuktu, Waycross, flutter and float on the midnight waters and turn to flowers.
Where come we from? And so forth. We come from where we are and bound to be. The point of the Western pen is red with the blood of us.
You and me, the sages say, us always is. We sunflowers facing the east, dancing in the wind and folding at night. Under noonday light, we drip, red petal by red petal, into the midnight waters, into rushing, swirling waters.
Where we come from and so forth, from our mothers' swollen bellies. The point of the Western pen is red with the blood of us. The black artist must make his heart to beat the same as the rhythm of the heart of the people. He must listen to the drums that the people and the message that they have sent themselves, that he and the people and the art are one.
We got to get on with the get on. All art, really valid art, appears to freedom. One day we shall all go back. We shall all go back down home, to the brown hills and the red gullies. Down home, where the blood of our fathers has fed the black earth. Down home.
One day we shall all go back down home, to the kiss by sweet rain and warm sun on black backs. We shall all go back down home, to avenge Medgar and Martin and Little Emmett and all others who died the good death.
Down home. Back. Back to avenge our fathers and mothers killed and raped in Natchez.
Memphis, Montgomery, Mobile, Lake Charles, New Orleans, Baton Rouge,
Macon, Waycross, Atlanta, Charleston, Jackson, Savannah, Tuscaloosa.
One day we shall all go back. We shall surely all go back down home.
and the Southland will tremble to our marching feet.
Down home, where our freedom cries will shake the southern skies. Down home.
And the shame will leave our children's eyes.
Down
home.
Kadoom, kadoom, doom. Kadoom, kadoom, doom, doom. Kadoom, kadoom, doom. Kadoom, kadoom, doom, doom. Kadoom, kadoom, doom. Kadoom, kadoom, doom. Pulse beats are as basic to the rhythm of poetry as to the rhythms of life.
Kadoom.
Kadoom, doom.
Kadoom. Kadoom, doom, doom.
The deadness was threatening us. 15 Nigerians and 1 Mississippi nigger.
It hung heavy like stones around our necks.
Pulling us down to the ground.
Black arms and legs outflung on the wide green lawn of the big White House.
Near the wide brown beach, by the wide blue sea.
The deadness was threatening us. The day was drying with the sun.
The stillness unlike the sweet silence after lovemaking.
or the pulsating quietness of a summer night.
The stillness was skinny and brittle.
And wrinkled by the precise people sitting on the wide white porch of the big house.
The darkness was threatening us.
Menacing.
We twisted,
Turned,
Shifted positions.
Picked our noses.
stirred at our bare toes.
hissed air through our teeth.
Then Tunji, green robes flowing as he froze strapped to Elu, talking drum.
Kadoom,
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 kadoom, kadoom, kadoom, kadoom, kadoom, kadoom, kadoom, kadoom, kadoom, kadoom.
The heart beats, the heart beats slowly. The heart beats, the heart beats slowly.
The blood flows. The blood flows slowly.
Kadoom,
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 kadoom, kadoom, kadoom. And the day opened to the sound.
kadoom, kadoom,
Kadoom, kadoom, kadoom,
And our feet moved to the sound of life.
kadoom,
kadoom, kadoom, kadoom, kadoom.
and we rolled the rhythms as one.
From Nigeria to Mississippi and back.
Kadoom, kadoom, kadoom,
Kadoom,
Kadoom, kadoom, kadoom.
Art has a sense of freedom.
Finally, I was called to the hot seat, solemnly.
bearers of heavy burdens.
The chairman asks if I'm me. I tell him, yes, I'm me. He tells me to sit down.
They shuffle some papers and study me. I tremble inside and study them, especially the super black Anglo-Saxon. Then the chairman takes me through these paces, and I respond with the proper yes sirs in the proper, like well-trained thoroughbred. Pen stuck until I bled, but it doesn't last long.
I give my buddies the high sign.
Etheridge,
Etheridge.
Night.
Night.
number
32650.
Box 41.
Michigan City.
Indiana.
46360. And this poem,
This poem.
This poem.
I give to you.
this poem is a song that I sing to you from the bottom of the sea in my belly.
This poem is a song about feeling, about the bone of feeling, about the stone of feeling, and the feather of feeling.
This poem is a death chant, a gravestone, moving, moving, moving.
This poem I give to you. This poem is a song I sing to you from the bottom of the sea in my belly.
Peace.
Night.
There was this thing that Etheridge did when I met him. He called it comments, conflict, and confrontation. So this was his work. I got a chance to meet Etheridge. These poems are vital in the sense that it exposed me to a new way, and it gave me a poetic voice as a poet myself. And if there's any questions about the poem, we are here and we can answer those questions for you. If there's anything that you didn't understand, we can probably try to explain it. Or if you want to know anything personally about any one of the actors, we can give you bios or anything that you would like to know. Is there any questions? Are there any questions? I'm sorry. Okay. Is there anything else?
So, did you ever see any videos of Etheridge? Anybody ever see anything like that? Are there videos of him on YouTube that you know of?
Yeah, there's definitely things out there on YouTube. Okay, he was published by Pittsburgh Press, and he worked in colleges as an instructor. He also won a whole lot of prizes, literary prizes for his works. But he was a down-to-earth dude, you know. He was accessible. He wasn't like this stifled kind of person. He was like one of my older brothers. You could ask him questions, and he'd talk shit and swallow spit. Yeah, he was a real cool dude. And are there any more questions?
Yeah, can you just share an experience that stands out that you had with him?
Okay. About 30 years ago, we did this as a full stage play. So with blocking and everything else. So at that time, Etheridge came to town. I knew of his work, but I'd never met the person, you know, I never met him as a person. I was only familiar with his works. And so I was real impressed with his down-to-earthness, because I thought because of his literary genius that there would be a separation. But the thing that made him vital to me was the fact that he was like me. He was an actual person, with touching and feeling, and he had this rough side because he had been in prison, but he also had this soft side too. And so those were the things I liked about him, and some of the things that I'd learned.
Can you each tell us a little bit about yourselves and what was your favorite line of all the monologues you provided?
I'll start off. Well, my name is Andre Davis. I am an actor / musician and stand-up comedian, but it's part-time. Yeah, I'm born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm 27. I've traveled a lot throughout the world. This is actually my first time actually learning about an Etheridge piece, and I look forward to reading more about him after this poem that we recited. Very creative and very, especially at the times, very advanced in his thinking. And we all, I like in this poem, he showed us a turning point for him. And he showed us how he got to that turning point. So that was very interesting to me to go forward, especially, like it happens to us in everyday life. We all reach a turning point, we realize what we're doing is not working. So we knock ourselves out of that insanity and we kind of finally see things the same. And so my favorite line of this was shine.
Actually, can I cut in real quick for just a second? We'll go back to the rest of you all. But hello everyone, I'm Ayana Williams, Executive Director. Before the actors go more into it, I would love to bring the person up who put this whole piece together, Night Songs. So she'll be able to explain a lot more of why she did it, what made her decide to do it, and a little bit more about Etheridge. So if you all want to have a seat right here, I still want you to introduce yourselves. We'll pass it on over to please welcome the wonderful, beautiful, magnificent Deborah Frazier. And Ayana's mother.
Thank you all so much. Thank you all. Thank you. My husband and I met Etheridge about 1977. He knocked on our door. We lived on Benton. He finishes my sentences. And he said, I heard that there's some poets that live in Memphis, and we got your name, and we had a poetry workshop at the time, and he changed everything about us. One of the most important stories to me was the fact that the University of Memphis, they knew who he was. He had received a Guggenheim. Jesse is exactly right. He had won all of these awards, but he was still a heroin addict. And so every time he got money, every time he got a grant, he would take that money that night, get his friends, get high, and that would be the end of all the money. Because he was married to Sonia Sanchez, who is professor at Rutgers. And she could only take him for so much. And she had to let him go because of that. But I remember you couldn't smoke at the University of Memphis. And so he went into the classroom, and he was given something, and he started smoking. And he would be so high that he was so good at being so high, he could let that ash hang all his and then he would just drop the cigarette on the floor and let it go, and nobody would ever say anything. So they wanted Etheridge to be in this publication by writers at the University of Memphis. And he said, well, I don't see any black poets in here. And they said, well, you know, we don't know any. He said, well, I do. And this is where what we talk about in this, he stood his ground, because they were going to pay him. You know, we weren't paid. They were going to pay him good money. And he said, if you don't get these young black poets in this book, you can't put mine in there. And we said, oh my goodness, how is that? And so, of course, they found us. And he said, I know him. He said, I have a workshop. It was called the Free People's Poetry Workshop, that we read poetry in a bar up on Parkway. Bill's Twilight Lounge. We were there every Monday night. And we had open mic before there was open mic. So we would have 3 featured poets, and then he would give a mini lecture, and then anybody who wanted to could get up. So Etheridge was an extremely dear friend, and I was in graduate school. I was going for my master's. And I said, I'd like to do a piece about Etheridge Knight. And some of the work that you hear is from a woman by the name of Patricia Hill. She did her dissertation on his work. And that's when he talked about learning how to read. He dropped out of school in the 9th grade. Went to the Korean War, and when he was injured, of course, they gave him not morphine, but another painkiller, and he went from that painkiller to heroin. So, and then Gwendolyn Brooks, who did a series of workshops in the prisons in Indiana, but she was poet laureate of Illinois. And so she came and she saw his work. When you do the preface of his first book, Poems from Prison, she saw that he was just an excellent, excellent poet. Now, and this is the only other thing I'm going to say, because he believed in this, like, whatever, friendship meant that whatever I needed, you give it to me, okay? And he would do the same for you, okay? Because he did a lot of stuff for us. So, one day, he wanted to borrow Levi's car. So, brand new car. So Levi said, okay. I said, Levi, I think Etheridge is drunk. And he said, it's okay. So he brought the car back. I said, okay. About 2 hours later, he said, you know, Levi, I need that car again. So I said, Levi, don't let Etheridge have the car. So next thing, about 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, Levi, you need to come get me. I said, where's the car? It's a wreck. So he totaled Levi's car. But, you know, we couldn't be mad at him because this is who he is. And we had wonderful poetry workshops, and we'd always compete to see who could make the best food and have him there. And I had never ever seen Etheridge high before. He would talk about it, but one Sunday he came, and it was like this. Okay. Etheridge, you can come in the house. He said, came in the house. And we're hanging on the word. dog. I said, okay. And then I said, Levi, you know, I can't stand that. So we went on ahead to workshop around him while he was, and so everybody went home, and we were sitting there, and Ayana came in and she said, Mom, I think Mr. Knight is getting ready to have an accident. And I said, what are you talking about? So he had tilted the chair back and sat like that for 45 minutes. And I said, he'll be all right. And the next thing we knew, we heard this. Boom. I said, Levi, he has OD, he has died. And he just sat, he just laid there. And so that was, he did not shoot up in front of us, but except that one time when we saw him do that. And then he decided to become, I don't know, stop doing everything. And so then when you talk to him, you say, hey, Etheridge, hey, Eth. I said, did they call you anything other than Etheridge? He said, no, they only call me Etheridge. I said, come on, they had called me something other than Etheridge. But anyway, he decided to free himself from all drugs. And we said, hey, Eth. And he said, I'm okay. He said, get that man a Colt 45. But he was truly an exceptional individual. And we always have women in the show because he had a very feminine side that was he was an extremely soft person. But, you know, when you made him mad, all of that came out. Every prison, everything, Mississippi, everything came out of him. So we did get an opportunity to take the play through the prison system. And that's when I met Ekendiah. And he had a tiny little baby, and he directed the show. And we took the show to several prisons across Tennessee. And actually, Gwendolyn Brooks met us in Nashville at the women's prison. And now Etheridge, he was supposed to go with us, but every time we got to a prison, he would have something on his breath so that they would not allow him in. So I guess when he spent 10 years in Indiana in prison, he was not going to go back. So I want to thank Marion so very much for taking the writing. It is a song. The whole piece is that he always told poets to find your voice, whatever that is. And I could hear his voice as the words were given. He had a very, very distinct lyrical voice. And he was also very political, and he believed in everything that he wrote. So that was, I was doing the lines when you all were reading. I know the line. Then one day he was so drunk, he said, what's that number? He said 326, but that wasn't my number. I said, oh man, go that's the number you gave me. He said, no, that wasn't my number. I had another number. Okay, yeah, whatever.
So on that other note, we had started with the introduction. And I think we ended with you, Julian. It's your turn.
Okay. Hi, I'm Julian. I'm gonna be real brief. I'm Julian Burgess. This is my second time working with Bloom City Culture, and I'm very excited about the Levi's are my neighbors. And, so this is real cool opportunity to be a part of this production. I am a Memphian, been here all my life, done community theater, been in plays, directed Carolyn Bibbs, Aaron McClann, and some of you older people may remember the name Julian Burgess. I was on the radio. I was a gospel DJ for 10 years at WLK. I say DIA, but 1340 WLK. So yeah, I was there for 10 years. So it's an honor to be here, and I've learned a lot. I did get an opportunity to go on YouTube and look at some of his videos and some of the poems that he had written. I thought that was really nice. And such an amazing story you just shared with us. It just really took it to another level. So I'm just real glad to be a part of this.
My name is Jesse L. Dunlap. If you got a telephone, take your phone out and Google me. No, seriously though. My name is Jesse L. Dunlap. I'm an actor, a writer, and I dabble a little bit in music sometimes. But I've been working and knowing Debbie and Levi for almost 40 years now, for a long time. So look, and I've always liked working with Levi because it was always hands-on. I can remember me and Levi sitting up at night and he writing and revising stuff. Give me 5 minutes to do it, to look at it. Now, act this out. Yeah, and so I've always loved the security of the Blue City Cultural Center. It's one of my favorite arts organizations in the whole town, and I've worked for a whole lot of them. And so it's just a pleasure to actually just be here and to revisit this stuff that I visited a long time ago. And it's good to have y'all here. And that's it for me.
Hi everyone. My name is Christina Thomas. I'm 32 years old. This is my second performance with the Blue City Culture Group, and I really enjoy performing, acting. I sing a little bit. I'm a lover of the arts and anything artistic and musical. That's me. You guys can look for me. I'll do anything, performances, shows. I enjoy working with you guys, and I appreciate you guys for considering me. Just to be the only female up here means a lot to me. It was very fun trying to be a man. I can't thank you. And I just want to say thank you guys for coming out and supporting. It means the world to us to get back into our field. So thank you very much.
Well, before we get ready to go to our next part, I have to call up the wonderful director.
Yes.
Thanks to Mrs. Glass Frazier for allowing me to take her piece and do something different with it. When the Fraziers asked me about doing this show, I said, I have to call Miss Frazier first. Because when I have no children, but I know that when you have birthed a child, that's your child until it leaves the earth. And Night Songs is her baby.
Yep.
So I said, are you sure? She said, well. And I too have just been enthralled with the work of Etheridge. As Mrs. Frazier, I was working on my master's, comparing the poetry of E.E. Cummings and Etheridge Knight. And I actually wrote him a letter and said, what do you think about this? Both of you are uncharacteristic, you don't follow the rules. What do you think? He wrote me back pages giving me guidance as to how I should write my paper. So I treasure that letter, and I was blessed to be able to show my students his work. I couldn't show them all of them though. So they too love. Ilu, the Talking Drum, is one of the pieces that they actually love, the last piece. But I thank all of you for coming out and joining us tonight. Thank you for your support. We really do appreciate it. And as I said, what we want to try to do is to have some more gatherings, have some more open times where we can have some entertainment, have some musical theater. But I know we do have to be cautious So thank you for stepping out tonight. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
And one last thing, I'll bring the artistic director up right after that. Because Etheridge would have a group of people and we would be able to work on, well, not we, excuse me, let me rephrase that. But they would be able to work on their poetry and I would be in the midst to hear it and hear it and hear it and learn it and know it. So I would like to share this moment so that we know, or I know, there are some poets in this audience and we have got to hear something from somebody. So we're going to make it be exactly what he used to do. Now my wonderful poem is one that I will borrow from somebody else. Roses are red, violets are blue. But that's about all I know. But at this time I would like to go ahead and call our artistic director up. And if you are a poet, you think you're a poet, want to be a poet, don't be shy. Come on down, write your soul, and do your thing. Mr. Braydon. Oh, Iris, you coming to do a poem? Roses are red, violets are blue, and I love you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. There are so many Etheridge stories around that it would take years to tell them all. And the one with my car is one that's I still think about the drive. The only brand new car I ever had. But Etheridge was a great person. He inspired us. I always tell people, I said, you know what? I've had a lot of professors over my lifetime, but he was the best instructor, best professor I ever had. Because the way he taught us, he put us to work. It was definitely hands-on. We read poems, as was said, in prisons, in bars, churches, parking lots. Wherever there was a space to read a poem, that's what we did. And we critiqued the poem. One particular poem of mine, called Colored People, he would read all over the country. He said, Levi, I was in Chicago, I read your poem. I was in New York, I read your poem. And I said, okay, thanks, sir. And so it was quite an honor to be in the workshop with Etheridge. And we would travel. At the time, we belonged to an organization called the Southern Black Cultural Alliance. It was an alliance of black arts organizations and artists across the South. And we would go to New Orleans, Atlanta, we even went to Austin at one time, Birmingham, some other places too. And we would have generally 2 meetings a year. One meeting we get together and read and perform, the other meeting we call our business meeting. We read and perform at that meeting. But we had a great time, and Etheridge was right there with us. And he was just, I think it's all been said, he was a dynamic individual, and we were just blessed to know him. Thank you.
All right, so you know you're on the spot. Let us hear, continue it on with Etheridge work, and let's bring her down. A wonderful poet. And if I find out others out, I'll
We have Toya, she's gonna follow me. Thank you guys for having me. I guess I'll remove my mask. This piece is called Justice for Some. This one's for my dad, who was killed long before the pound sign became hashtag, so they never said his name. He took his last breath at a time where people gave you their 2 cents, but never actually spared you change. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. That's what we sound like. We can't be voices for our community if we're only being used as sound bites. Sure, love conquers all, but who are we fooling? Hate's been kicking love's butt as long as judges has been misruling, but still we rise, right? Excuse me a moment while I tuck in my nice. I'm mad that our nation is bleeding, and no matter how many ways we slice that pot of justice, it won't cut even. I want to trust officers. Now that's the hard part. Like that one boyfriend, we keep giving chances to re-break our hearts. So from my graveyard of oppression to your gated yard of privilege, here's what I have to say. The grass appears to be greener on your side because history painted it that way. There, someone had to say it. If we don't spare change, there's a price on all of our heads, and our kids will have to pay it. We were doomed before we ever begun, because we live in a world that stopped chasing justice, justifying Pokemons. And there's nothing wrong with having fun, but haven't you noticed? They stopped lynching us with ropes just to do it with guns. How will there ever be justice for all if we can't even get justice for one? Our community just needs to be pushed in the right direction, because we keep doing the right things but with the wrong aggression. They look at us and they see resistance wrapped in bitterness, never stopping to consider this. If you breed good souls in a hostile environment for over 400 years of gruesomeness, the product will be hurt people trying to figure out if we're all God's children, who the Judas is. The slave and slave master pray to the same God. Preacher man, help us understand. Till then, put justice in the M&M bag, because it'll melt in our mouths longer than we'll ever see it in our hands. Thank
I gotta go to the restroom. All right. I wouldn't dare call myself a poet yet. I think I'm more of a baby poet, but thanks to Miss Righteous Soul, who urged me to come down here, I will share a piece, a little piece of something called Project Housing Hopeless. Clouds gather and give shade to dirty cherubs running through patches of grass and dust that conceal poisoned soil. As they somersault on befouled mattresses, grandmothers sit on porches guarding the scent of fresh-picked turnip greens, blending with sounds of Willie Hutch, wafting through a cratered parking lot littered with box Chevys and empty Bud Light cans. Long braids swing in the sun, brush against ebony skin, captivating groups of men as they gather under the oak tree. Iron fences enclose hundreds of people while a sign beckons them inside. Welcome to Foot Homes, your forever home, where dreams come to die.
Just a little short one. It's called The Celebration, and it goes, Today I celebrate. I celebrate the fact that I now know what is fiction. I have become wise. I can break things down to size. I now realize. So thank you for helping me see we in 2020 vision. Our first dance, our first glance. You were only looking for a romance, but still I have all of my love to give. And my love flows soft like the smell of a whispered summer Sunday silence. My love flows mellow and melodic like a Monday morning rain. Yes, my love flows. My love flows gentle like the rain.
All right.
Let's go. Good.
All right, I'm a poetess. Call me Damien, Dame the God to be exact. Okay. It's been a while since I've been in front of people. Good people like this, so bear with me. Okay. The future that I saw was slipping. I had focus, paid attention to handle business, sights and visions, slipping like a transmission. Transparent X-ray, no substance in it. Unthreaded needle ain't sticking. Every shot I'm missing. A great man I am, goals and intentions. Since adolescence, relations been stressing. I never let this depression pause a second. I need an intercession. God, I'm doing all I can. Be a great, faithful man, but to me, it seemed the low down dogs is winning. Let me go into the index and point to get to my opinion. How many women still with their original baby's father's old questions, rhetorical? There's truth, there's proof. I know I'm the oracle. Like Usher Confections, losers, rejections. Yesterday she was dyking. I don't get that shit. How you got 6 kids and all of a sudden said I quit dick? That's number one. Okay. I'm almost finished. And that's number 1 in my book for silly shit. See, I don't. Oh, my phone got away. See, I don't. Oh, my phone is not on. You don't want me to finish.
We want you to finish.
Don't finish. Okay. See, that's number 1 in my book for silly shit. See, I don't understand your conversation when it's a compilation of love and slipping indecision. This relationship's what's this in my memory, still slipping indecision. And Alzheimer's setting in this subject. It's by itself with no predicate. To connect this, there's no life, no long sentence. I'm tired of this pretense. It got me stuck in the past, I'm so recent. Got me on the deep end, on my defense, looking around seeking. This journey is so unpleasing. Should I continue?
Let's see if I can go on there. All right. Peace out, brother. Just called pain. Bastard child born in the wild under his dad's name. Raised by a struggling mother playing a man's game. Father in and out of jail wondering who's to blame. Let him to free but he in chains, still trying to blame. Time passed, son get older. Heart gets colder. Wanted a family but now he got ulterior motives. So smart, Einstein to tell him he got the juice. But he felt like Adam when he bit a piece of the forbidden fruit. Knowing the truth, how can he be happy in the end? Live a life of zen, when it's a constant trend. Over and over again, people of his kind get sent to the pen. See, this ain't even about skin, this is mass oppression. Way after the Great Depression. A systematic obsession with them sending a message. Confessed that they made terrorists out of our legends. Took the knots out of our back with no therapy session. Found a way around the emancipation proclamation to keep the people freed and the forever enslavement. We paid the pavement, where's our payment? My ancestors, their ancestors died in wars. We at home getting killed with no hesitation. Waited on the environment to get them so they can trick them. Got caught living wrong with good intentions, he a victim. There goes another life lost to the system. They found and miss him, get out feeling the symptoms, so he turned to the venom. Just to keep his head from going in spirals, because he starts to be suicidal, now he lost in the cycle. And that's the life that we live in. If he died, they're going to say the life he chose killed him, and the war will really kill him. Let that sink in. Want us to fall in line, who they kidding? They going to war with their own civilians. They ain't got no feelings. I'm scared for the children. They gonna need some mental healing. Watching us die just because we living. Ain't nothing changed. We just living their lives. And I'm sick and tired of seeing all of my people cry. I look to the skies like, can I get a sign? Why the color of my skin could be the reason I die. Thank you.
What church you the youth pastor?
You get ready to,
No.
I have a really quick one from a good friend of mine who is in our workshop. And it's called Tuesday Poem. Mine is not, her name is Akiba Shabbat. Her name was Akiba Shabbat. So, it's called Tuesday Poem. This is not a violent poem. This is not that. Tuesday was your day off. So, I called it sick. Because I wanted to be with you. We breakfasted on squares of PTA, world's finest chocolate, and chamomile tea. And I laughed because your mustache curled when you laughed. And no, you are not an ordinary man. And yes, I do support revolution. And no, you do not bore me with your quietness. And yes, I do mention my mother a lot. And no, your mustache does not tickle. And yes, and yes, and yes. And soon I do not know where you end and I begin. It is that fluid and fitting a Tuesday. And even with my eyes closed, I can see that this day is cause for celebration.
You going? All right, we got one last one, I think.
I just want to try this one out, everybody. It's like, how many people saw the Van Gogh exhibit? Okay. How'd you like it?
I loved it.
I loved it too. What did you like about it? What did you love about it?
They came alive.
It came alive, yes. What did you?
It was lovely, it was beautiful.
It was. Let me ask you, what color stood out the most for you?
Blue and green and white swirling.
The blue and the green and white. And so I worked part-time, came out of retirement to work part-time at the Blues Museum. And so I've been astonished by different blues artists and some I didn't know. But when I walked through, I saw the blues, like he was saying, and the swirling, and they were on the walls and on the floor, because it was video, it was electronic, it was digital, and it was just grabbing. So working at the Blues Museum and seeing all this blues, I had to write it. I wanted to write a song, but I said, well, maybe it's kind of in between the song and spoken word. So it's called the Van Gogh Blues. Blue air breathe in, blue air breathe out. Into life on canvas, that's what it's all about. Bold strokes, never doubt, never doubt. Sweet blues soaking up summer canvases, swirling in peace and hope. Sweet blues soaking up summer canvases, swirling in peace and hope. Dope really not needed. Just eyes to see and feel free. Why you go, Van Gogh? Why you go? Why did you leave us? Real blues men like Dixon, Memphis Slim, and Big Joe could have schooled you more on the strife of life. The strife of life. Bluesman's best friend is trouble. Bluesman's best friend is trouble. We know why the bluesmen sing. Never ending, just life. So we keep on bending like a brush on canvas, like a brush on canvas. Then stand back up, sunshine your turpentine, keep you soft, give you peace of mind. I ain't lying. Because problems do collide at the crossroads like trade winds, where bluesmen strive with music friends, where bluesmen strive with music friends. They grin, and they grin again. They don't give up. Give up a cup, maybe, but not give up. They say, lay the blues down right, man. Lay the blues down right, man, but not your life, man. Not your life. No need. Somebody already paid that price. So, why you go, Van Gogh? Why you go, Van Gogh? Because, man, you missed a hell of a show. This is my next door neighbor. I didn't even recognize him. I saw him last night.
Well, once again, Blue City Cultural Center wants to say thank you so much for attending, being here with us. Look for more from us. Definitely be coming, we'll be coming soon. We have on June 28th, we're doing our Sip and Sew, which is working with our homeless women and the works that they have put together. We're doing that. We'll be at Arts Memphis for that one to have the conversation, but you get a little taste of what they're doing. And soon we will be starting our workshops called From the Page to the Stage, that you'll get an opportunity to work with a master writer, awesome writer, one of the best writers I know in the whole wide world. Won't call any names, nothing like that, like Levi Frazier Jr. I won't do that, but he is one of the best writers that I know. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for attending and coming out to be with us. Have a great day.